For a generation, the Gracie family seemed almost impossible to beat. Not in the street, not in the gym, not on the tatami, not in the UFC, not in the back rooms of Rio de Janeiro, where challengers arrived and left humbled. For decades, the family that helped redefine modern submission fighting had constructed something beyond a record. They had constructed a myth. And myths do not belong to a single man. They belong to a bloodline. In November of 1999, a Japanese catch wrestler walked into that myth, wearing a borrowed wrestling mask. He called himself, in his own words, through translation, just another dude from around the block. The Gracies called him something else. He was born on July 14, 1969, in the rice farming prefecture of Akita, in the small town then known as Showa, in a region where professional wrestling was not a sport, but a weekly ceremony. Every week, without exception, the young Kazushi Sakuraba sat before a television set and watched New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not for the spectacle, not for the theater, for Tiger Mask. The character, a masked wrestler who had learned martial arts in an orphanage, who fought against impossible odds with technical precision rather than brute force, did not feel like entertainment to the boy from Akita. It felt like a blueprint. His teachers advised him not to drop out of school. He listened, but the dream did not leave. At 15, he found the closest path available. He began to wrestle. He excelled immediately. By the end of high school, he had finished second in the Japanese National Amateur Wrestling Championships. He was offered a place on the freestyle wrestling squad of Chuo University, one of the most decorated wrestling programs in the country, a program whose alumni included Olympic gold medalists. Sakuraba won the East Japan Freshman Championship in his first year. He was made team captain. In his final year, he finished fourth in the All Japan tournament, defeating, along the way, a competitor who would later win Olympic bronze. When he graduated, the university offered him a position as coach. He declined. The dream was still there. The year was 1993. The shoot-style wrestling movement, built on realistic-looking technical exchanges, a fusion of catch wrestling, judo, sambo, and striking, had produced one of the most technically demanding wrestling promotions in Japan. It was called Union of Wrestling Forces International, UWFi. Sakuraba joined. He was 23 years old, a decorated amateur wrestler with no professional experience, no performance instincts, and no guarantee of ever making the main card. He debuted on August 13, 1993. He lost. He remained winless through his entire rookie year. There is a story told about his early days in the dojo. Under the eye of his senior, Kiyoshi Tamura, Sakuraba was required to perform the routine chores expected of junior wrestlers with the same precision expected of his wrestling. The implication was clear. You earned the right to be taken seriously, one task at a time. He did not leave. Under his main trainer, Yoji Anjo, and later under the instruction of the British catch wrestler Billy Robinson, trained at the Wigan Snake Pit, the birthplace of Lancashire catch as catch can, Sakuraba began building something that did not yet have a name. A game of feints, a game of unexpected angles, a repertoire of submissions and setups drawn from a tradition that predated Brazilian Jiu-jitsu by decades. He also trained in Muay Thai under Master Bovi Chowai Kung. By 1995, the UWFi had entered a cross-promotional war with New Japan Pro Wrestling. The vast majority of UWFi workers came out on the losing end. But those bouts gave Sakuraba exposure, and management began to notice. Then the wound arrived. Yoji Anjo, Sakuraba's trainer, traveled to California to challenge Rickson Gracie at his gym. The Japanese press followed. what they photographed was not a challenge match. It was an erasure. The images circulated across Japan. The UWFi's credibility, already strained, did not recover. The Gracies were not simply winning fights. They were defeating the idea that any other system could compete with theirs. In December 1996, at the promotion's final event, Sakuraba headlined at last, defeating Anjo himself, his own teacher, by submission. It was a fitting, bittersweet coda. The student outlasted the institution. That idea, that the Gracies were unanswerable, would become the weight Sakuraba carried into everything that followed. Sakuraba moved to Kingdom Pro Wrestling, a shoot-style promotion founded by Nobuhiko Takada, the most prominent name from the UWFi collapse. But by 1997, the world had changed. Mixed martial arts was no longer a curiosity. It was a commercial force. And the force behind it wore the Gracie name. In Japan, the organization that would define the era was Pride Fighting Championships. And on October 11, 1997, at the first Pride event, Nobuhiko Takada, Sakuraba's stablemaster, one of the most recognizable fighters in Japan, stepped into the ring with Rickson Gracie. The result was swift, clinical, final. In Japan, it was not simply a fight loss. It was a statement. The Gracies had come to Japan on Japanese soil and demonstrated that the shoot-style tradition, the discipline Sakuraba had given his 20s to, could not answer what Brazilian jiu-jitsu offered on the ground. Sakuraba watched. He entered Pride not as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, not as a disciple of the Gracie system, but as something older and more lateral. A catch wrestler with an amateur wrestling base, Muay Thai training, and a disposition toward the unorthodox that no one had yet encountered at this level. In late 1997, he entered the Ultimate Fighting Championships Japan tournament as an unsigned, largely unknown competitor. He won the tournament. He was now impossible to ignore. There is a coincidence in the history of grappling that is almost too precise to be accidental. In October 1951, in Rio de Janeiro, the greatest Japanese judoka of the post-war era, Masahiko Kimura, defeated Hélio Gracie with a shoulder lock so devastating that Hélio's arm broke before he would submit, and his corner was forced to throw in the towel. The technique became known in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as the Kimura. On November 21, 1999, 48 years later, Kazushi Sakuraba walked into Pride 8 and faced Royler Gracie. Royler was the dynasty's technical prodigy, undefeated, a multiple-time world Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, a competitor who had never been stopped. He was, by the metrics of the mat, one of the family's most accomplished competitors. Sakuraba dominated him. Not narrowly, not fortunately. He controlled the distance, disrupted Royler's setups, and attacked from angles that a pure jiu-jitsu framework had not been designed to address. In the second round, at 13 minutes and 16 seconds, Sakuraba locked the shoulder. The same shoulder, the same hold. The Kimura. The referee stopped the fight. The Gracie family disputed the legitimacy of the referee's stoppage, though Pride recorded the bout as a Sakuraba victory. Under the rule set they had negotiated, the fight should have continued only on submission, knockout, or a thrown towel, not a referee intervention. They had a procedural argument, and they still lost it. The record did not care what they disputed. The Gracie family sent their answer. Not Rickson. Royce. Royce Gracie was the man who had represented the family at the UFC's inception. UFC 1, UFC 2, UFC 4. Winning 3 separate tournaments, submitting fighter after fighter from disciplines that had no answer for the ground. He was, in the public imagination of combat sports, the proof that the Gracie system worked against everything. He came with demands. Unlimited 15-minute rounds. No judges. No referee stoppages. Victory only by knockout, submission, or corner stoppage. Sakuraba found the demands unreasonable. He said so publicly. And then, he accepted them. He was asked about the unlimited round format. He replied that he would consider wearing a diaper. On April 30th, 2000, the day before the fight, Royce Gracie was absent from the rules meeting. Sakuraba addressed the assembled press alone. Crazy and Gracie sound more similar in Japanese, he said. I can't even put into words my feelings for them. But isn't it that this fire that they lit has gotten bigger than them, and now they are running away from it? Royce, when he later heard what Sakuraba had said, reportedly wished him a good fight. On May 1st, 2000, 38,429 people filled the Tokyo Dome. 20 million more watched on television across Japan. When Royce Gracie made his entrance, he came accompanied by his family, Horion, Hélio, teammates, the full procession of the Gracie institution. When Sakuraba made his entrance, he wore a wrestling mask. The super strong machine mask, a character from the world he had come from, the world that had been humiliated at this very intersection of cultures. Two of his training partners wore identical masks, identical attire. It was impossible to tell which of the three figures was the fighter. The fight lasted 90 minutes, 6 rounds, 15 minutes each. No submission came, no knockout came. In the 6th round, with Sakuraba controlling the pace and Royce's body bearing the accumulated weight of 90 minutes of combat, Royce Gracie's corner threw the towel. The stoppage method the Gracie family had designed to protect their fighters, a thrown towel, not a referee, was the method by which Sakuraba won. He was not exultant, he was tired. 3 months later, Sakuraba faced Renzo Gracie. Pride 10, August 27th, 2000, Tokyo. Renzo was the family's most publicly beloved figure, the Gracie who had built a school in New York, who trained police officers and fighters, who spoke to the press with a warmth that made him broadly respected across the sport. He was not merely a competitor, he was an ambassador. Sakuraba locked the Kimura. The referee stopped the contest. Technical submission. Then came Ryan Gracie. Pride 12, December 12, 2000. Ryan was the wildest variable in the family, volatile, physically imposing, the Gracie who operated furthest from the institutional polish of Horion schools and Carlos Jr.'s academies. He entered the fight with the weight of 4 consecutive family losses behind him and the ferocity of someone who had decided that would end. Sakuraba stopped him too. 4 Gracies, 13 months. Royler, Royce, Renzo, Ryan. The family that had helped redefine modern submission fighting in the post-war world, whose lineage ran from Mitsuyo Maeda's dojo in Belém, through Carlos Gracie's academy in Rio, through the UFC's opening night and into the mainstream of global combat sports, had been defeated 4 times by the same man. A catch wrestler from Akita, a man who had lost his debut, performed the routine chores of a junior wrestler under Kiyoshi Tamura's eye, trained the Kimura under B.D. Robinson, and assembled from those borrowed pieces something no single orthodox framework could dismantle. What is rarely asked about the Gracie Hunter is what the hunting cost. Sakuraba fought constantly. He did not rest between fights in the way that most fighters of his era were advised to rest. He fought men who outweighed him. He accepted rematches. He accepted unfavorable rule sets. He continued to compete when injured because the promotion needed a name, and he was now one of the most recognizable fighters in Japan. Wanderlei Silva was the Pride middleweight champion, a fighter whose aggression and knockout power made him genuinely feared across the organization. They fought in 2001. Sakuraba lost. They fought again in 2002. the result was more severe. They fought a third time in 2003. The losses were not simply losses on a record. They were the ledger of years of fights accepted without adequate recovery. Knees, ribs, the structural toll of a body that had been treated as a resource rather than an instrument. He did not stop. In 2000, near the height of his fame, he published his first autobiography. He titled it Boku, a Japanese word meaning simply, me. He wrote it at the age of 30. He called the exercise a little embarrassing. In translation, he wrote, "I am neither a star nor the best. If I were to put a label on it, my intuition tells me that I'm just another dude from around the block." This was the Gracie Hunter speaking. A man who had drawn 20 million television viewers in Japan, defeated the most famous fighting family in the history of grappling, and worn a wrestling mask into the Tokyo Dome, writing about himself at 30 as though he had done nothing particularly remarkable. That gap between the legend and the man's own accounting of it is where the real story lives. There is a lineage this series has followed from the beginning. From Jigoro Kano, who built the first formal system of ground fighting from something older and less codified. From Mitsuyo Maeda, who carried that system across the ocean and left it in the hands of a family in Belém. From Hélio Gracie, who remade it for a smaller body and a different philosophy. From Masahiko Kimura, who arrived in Rio and demonstrated for a single night that no system is complete. Kazushi Sakuraba sits at the end of that lineage and the beginning of something new. He did not arrive with a banner or a manifesto. He arrived as a catch wrestler who had lost his promotion, trained in borrowed time, fought up in weight, and accepted rules designed to produce his failure. And he won. Not because he had mastered the Gracie system, but because he had assembled something they had not prepared for. The Gracies went on. They teach today on 6 continents in academies bearing the name of the family that helped redefine modern submission fighting. Their art did not end. It was tested. And testing is not destruction. Sakuraba went on too, into losses, into injuries, into the quieter years of a career that had burned too brightly for too long. The mask came off eventually. It always does. If this is the first Tatami Codex documentary you found, the series stretches backward through Jigoro Kano, Mitsuyo Maeda, Masahiko Kimura, and the full Gracie lineage. Start anywhere. The threads connect. If you've been here from the beginning, you've now watched something complete. Leave a name in the comments. The next story is already waiting. Like this documentary if it earned it. Subscribe if you want to know when the next one arrives. Some names disappear from history because history decided they were inconvenient. Kazushi Sakuraba nearly became one of them. He was just another dude from around the block.